and welcome to the Junkyard Love Podcast.
At what age do we learn how to have better conversations? At what age do we learn to have better conversations with ourselves?
Hello, me mates. Welcome to the Junkyard Love Podcast. Today's recommendation is in the form of a TED Talk. It is John Vervaeke, Cognitive Science Rescues the Deconstructed Mind. I totally love this guy. I've just been super obsessed with his stuff lately. Maybe that one's not for everybody, but you can check it out and give it a listen. He has a lecture series on his YouTube channel. It's like 50-hour-long sessions. It's super fantastic, called The Meaning Crisis. If you're into these sorts of things, totally check that one out too. Today's episode is with Nate. It's fantastic. I have a couple other episodes with Nate that you can totally check out and read the descriptions on those as well. This one is from February 21st. I'm going to be going back through and posting things in the recorded date as I recorded them, and then trying to squeeze in a few mindfulness-related, meditation-related, now current-related podcasts as I work through the backlog. So try to post 2 a week. We'll see. Enjoy the podcast. Here we go. Hello, Mr. Nate. How are you today?
It's a little weird without the headphones.
I know. I feel like we're not as locked in. So if we seem like we're distracted by squirrels or trains, it's because
there's no headphones.
Yeah, we didn't do the headphones today. We're just trying that out. But also, one thing that is a positive already for any listener is you don't have to hear this fucking chair, man. Shout out to Nate Tanzman.
True. Yeah.
Brought me a new chair. I'm sitting, it's comfy. My butt cheeks feel real nice.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
I had it sitting around. I figured you could put it to good use. It was in my storage unit. So,
dude, I really appreciate it. Like the amount of times that I just dealt with that chair, like I just complained about. I'm like, I gotta get a new chair.
Yeah, I mean, you never do.
That's my way of being.
I've been thinking about it for a long time too. I was waiting to come up here. I'm like, you know what? I was like, every time I heard that on the podcast, I'm like, I'm bringing Jake that chair.
You gotta stop talking about the
I was
chair.
like, I'm bringing Jake, because I think I heard it like 3 or 4 times. Like you would be like talking, and then you'd be like, going down.
It's hard to be like I'm talking about something stern, like trying to be tough, and then I just drop like a whole 12 inches.
Yeah,
down.
and you're like, I was like, I'm bringing that guy that
Imagine
chair.
if you're on a stage, like you're giving a speech, and just sometimes randomly, like the stage just drops down to regular level.
Yeah, come on, you be like, I can't do it. Yeah, man, I've been thinking about that for a while. I was like, God, I heard it on the last one too. I was like, I heard you like mid sentence. You're like, up, going down, going down.
Later.
I was like,
just add sound effects.
I was like, all right, I'm getting that chair. I'm getting that damn chair out of my storage unit.
Well, bro, I appreciate it. I'm comfy now. Give me a quick lowdown. It's been a while. Like,
yeah,
it's just how you been lately, man? What have you been up to?
I've been good, man. I've been I have my ups and downs. You know, I'm actually I'm on a path right now to do a speaking event in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called Band Talks. It's similar. It's like a mini version of TED Talks that the city of Vancouver does and IQ Credit Union puts on. They pick 7 speakers. I made it past the first audition, a video audition, and then I have a live audition on Tuesday. So I'm pumped, man. I really I feel I know I'm gonna get it. Like there's no question in my mind. It's funny because I'm really just like kind of like, I don't want to use the word nutting up, but I kind of just like nutting up, and I'm just going with the fact that I'm gonna get it. And I put it. Somebody asked me or messaged me like, dude, congratulations, like, you know, you got your thing. And I was like, it's not. I didn't get it yet. And he was like, well, it says it in your bio. I was like, yeah, I did that for a reason.
Oh shit! Right.
I put in my bio Van Talks 2020 speaker, and I have it on my phone background. I have it written on my wall. I'm manifesting this thing, bro, and I really am like, I'm going into it like I already have it, like, and I really feel like it's just my time. Like I'm up next. Like this is for me, and I'm so confident. Like, not super confident in my my speaking skills and the technical side of it, but just confident in just what I bring to the table, and my my delivery and my emotion, I think is what's gonna capture it, in the rawness of it. So,
well, I think that's a good place to be, because it's like, even outside of the content, like based off of it's not so much based off of what you're gonna say. It's like
It's how you say it.
if you
it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah, like if you know, like I'm gonna go up there, like whatever they say, like if they said randomly last minute, like, hey, can you get up and fill this 15 minutes? You'd probably be like, cool, I got this. Like I don't know what I'm talking about,
Exactly.
but I feel like you'd be fine. Can you talk about this? I want to make sure this. I know you, and I know ambition, and I know a lot of people with ambition. This like knowing that you have, because a lot of times like so we see like, let's say law of attraction, like there's like The Secret that's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Like just saying like I'm gonna have these things isn't what makes them happen.
Exactly.
But like allowing it to be like allowing yourself to follow this like knowing that you have in your stomach. So I don't know, just talk about this knowing. Like how do you
I think honestly, I think confidence comes from preparation. I watch McGregor is like a huge law of attraction guy. I listen to him talk. I listen to things that he does, and it's like, at first I think people just look at him, and I think they look at him on the surface and they don't do the research on him. I watch all these YouTube videos on him. I watch all these documentaries. Like the stuff that he says and the things that come out of his mouth, yeah, they're a little, far-fetched and they're a little out there, but he's really a humble person. And the stuff that he says he wants, it's not necessarily that he is that. It's almost like this affirmation to himself and to the world at the same time. So I have this affirmation that I read, and it's like, if I read it out loud, people would think I was nuts. But that's what he's doing. And so I was like, maybe I need to step this affirmation thing up. Like maybe I really need to put out there what I really want. And I've always been big on visualizing and like really actually taking time out of my day to see in my head what I want. And it was one of those things where I was like, God, if I tell people this, they're going to think I'm nuts, or if I tell people this,
tell the wrong people.
People are going to think it's cliche, but I used to do it with riding all the time. I used to go to the gym and sit in the sauna and just visualize myself doing these tricks. And then when I would do them, it's like I already did it. Like it literally, like I would close my eyes and I can feel it, and I would just literally do it. And I was like, that didn't feel new, because I had visualized it in my head so many times. What's it feel like when my legs go through there? Like, well, how am I going to feel when my ass hits the tank? Like, you know what I mean? How am I going to feel afterwards? Like I had done that so many times, and I'm like, that worked for me. Why not do it with everything else? But I think it's just because I was watching this little thing on YouTube about talent versus, actually it was the podcast. It was when you were talking about talent versus things that you want, like your goals, and like what you think if you're talented is something that you're supposed to do it. I've just like been really talented at the bike. So I think what it comes down to is like with the speaking thing, it comes with a lot of things that I slept on myself, like writing. I used to like not write anything because I didn't want to look at my handwriting and how ugly I feel like my handwriting is. And like, I would not ever write anything down, because then if I thought it in my head, I could get rid of it because it's like not down there. But I'm like, if I write that down and I go back and read it, I'm like, am I going to feel stupid? So I never have wrote before until now. And I started writing because I'm like, I need to start writing down my thoughts and writing down these little nuggets for speeches. And like, I would fail to do that just because, like I said, I didn't want to look at my handwriting. I didn't want to look back and be like, God, what was I thinking? Like, and so I feel like the manifestation thing comes down to putting in the work. And I feel like that's where the confidence comes from. Yeah. And then just belief too. I was talking to somebody of the older generation about this Van Talks, and I was like, I'm gonna get it. Like, there's no question in my mind. Like, I can feel it. Like, I know what I'm gonna say. I have this just connection with emotion, and I think that's what it comes down to. Like, I'm not a huge informational speaker. I really like emotion, and so that's why
you ain't trying to spit a bunch of facts.
Yeah, which I do. That's why the only person that I like listening to that speaks facts is Jordan Peterson, because he's emotional too, and he's very connected. I'm not huge into lectures. I'm really not. Like, I do like certain kind of facts, but tell me how they relate in real life so I can connect an emotion to it. You know what I mean? The stories. You know what I mean? The stories. So I'm like, I'm so confident in my ability to capture emotion, and someone I will not name, said, well, just don't get your hopes up. And you know what?
Fuck that sentence.
And I was literally like, that is the fucking problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem with everybody right now. Nobody's getting their fucking hopes up.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Get your fucking hopes up.
Yeah.
If your hopes are not up, you are not putting in maximum effort to what you're doing because you already think that you're going to fail.
Right.
If I don't walk in that bitch and be like, I already have this attitude, like they fucked up letting me speak in front of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you already fucked up.
I'm here. Yeah.
Like you should have never let me in this fucking door. That's the way I look at it. Because if I don't think that, I'm not going to prepare. I'm going to lack self-confidence when I get in there because I'm gonna be like, oh, well, we do this thing that's like, we almost don't put in the effort on purpose. So if we do fail, we have an excuse and then we're not disappointing ourselves because failure in itself is a disappointment to some people, depending on what way you look at it.
Right.
But if you look at, why would you not put in your full effort? You're going to fail no matter what. Like whatever goal you're trying to hit, like I really feel like there's a connection with yourself. If it's something that's so deep, it wants to know how much you want it.
Right.
And it's going to test you. And if you put in half-ass effort, you're going to get half-ass results. Like I feel like there's that. I see it from a male perspective a lot with like trying to talk to girls. Like, you'd be like, oh, I didn't care. I didn't fucking try anyways. Like, fuck her. Like, forget about it.
Right.
I saw that my entire life. And then I'm like, when I grew up, I see it from an adult standpoint. And I'm like, what are people not getting their hopes up about that they're not trying? Because you can't. If you don't believe you can do it, you will not take the necessary steps and do the necessary action to do these things.
What's that? You accept the love you think you deserve or something like that. Almost comes in right there. Like if
for yourself.
Yeah. Like if you let yourself be talked down out of your own dreams by yourself, it's like what does that really mean?
And I think in that, be careful who you talk to. Right. I went to a family function yesterday and I knew it was going to be like this and I was like dreading going. I'm just not the surface level conversation kind of guy, like that whole like, hey, how's it going kind of thing. It just kills me. Yeah. And I was talking to one of my family members and he was like, how you doing? What are you doing? And I'm honest. Like, some people aren't ready for it, but I'm honest. He's like, how's work? How's life? And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm just trying to figure out what makes me happy. And I was like, I think I'm going to get ready to, get into a different industry. I'm not sure. And he was like, oh yeah, you ready for a career? And I'm like,
bro, fuck.
And I kind of wanted to be like, I don't like to put people down,
Right.
But I'm honest at the same time. And I held my tongue. And I looked at him. I just said, no, man, I'm trying to be happy. And I kind of just wanted to be like, I don't want your life. I don't want to be fucking miserable.
Right.
I don't want to work a job that I don't like. I don't want to have, I don't want to be trapped because I've created a family and created these things. And then all of a sudden, no matter if I'm unhappy or not, I can't make a change.
Right.
I want to do it now. And I want to figure out what makes me feel happy and makes me feel fulfilled right now before I get where you're at. And then I can't make a change because you have obligations. So it just really took me back, and I was just like, like a check in the light bulb and a check in the head on why I don't like that kind of stuff. Because it's just like, I'm honest. You know what I mean? Like, but not a lot of people are going to, that conversation makes people really uncomfortable.
Well, can we talk? So like that person, this older person who said that to you, like, I want to actually dig that sentence out. Like, so that person, they weren't trying to, but they put you down.
Yeah.
So a lot of the thing and this is my outside observation, a lot of the times I think that a lot of our younger age people, a lot of our age, like our ambitions, all these things, I think whatever we're going through, there's a lot of older people who are under the assumption that we're still doing that kid thing and we'll figure out how to get to where they're at eventually. Yeah. Like, they think that whatever the fuck we're doing right now, we're all going to end up exactly where they always knew we'd be. Yeah. Like one day you're going to ask me for that job at Weyerhaeuser. One day you're going to need me to get you on that. And it's like they're and they think they're giving us grace a lot of the times. I think a lot of people think like, well, cool, I'm letting you do your thing, but eventually you're going to want to get what I want.
Yeah.
And I think what's more important than that is like, stop trying to see young people, stop trying to see people like Nate Tanzman and Jake Ryans as somebody who is going to eventually live a life that you lived.
Yes.
Like my life already has been drastically different. My thought patterns are very different than a lot of the people who would be saying those sort of things to me. Like I worked for 5 years at a lumber mill, and nothing against this way of living by any means, but the whole time I was there, it was this like everyone's like, dude, why aren't you putting more into your 401k? And like, why don't you go for this manager position? And why don't you do this? And I'm like, I'm not here. I ain't here. Like this is, I'm here to put my work in, and I'm not going to be half-assed about it, but my dreams are bigger than this. And like, it's almost this eye roll. Like they don't want to be disrespectful. It'd be like, okay. Like they're just like waiting for you that day when you wake up and you're going to be like, you know what? I was wrong about all that dream stuff. I'm just going to work at the mill. Thanks.
You know, and I think when you find out what's really important to you is when things change. I really do. Like, I was in a similar situation like that 2 years ago with a job, and I started to realize that what I was doing for the money I was making was not sitting well with me, and everyone thought I was crazy. You know, my parents thought I was crazy. You're making how much? Like, you know, I didn't make crazy money, but in my tax bracket, I mean, I was in the like 18%. Like, so, you know, the rest of the, you know, more than half of America are making less money than me. And I'm looking at this like, why am I so unhappy?
Yeah.
What is wrong? Like, I can have everything I want. Everything I say that I've always wanted in my life, I have the money to have it. So what is going on?
Yeah.
I'm not happy.
Why don't I feel that thing? Where's
I'm
that
not
thing
happy. I'm not fulfilled.
Yeah.
And I figured out that after a very long time, and after somebody trying to help me and trying to tell me that things don't make you feel fulfilled. And if you keep looking for a thing, it'll never stop. It will never, ever, ever stop. And it's this constant reach for something that we don't have because we don't know what it's like to have it. And we don't like the unknown. So if you've never experienced that thing, what's that thing like? And all you can picture in your head about how great it's going to be, that's all you want. Until you have it. And then you're like, it was the most unhappiest I've been. It's the unhappiest I've been.
So you're like, you achieved the dream, but it wasn't yours. Right?
Exactly.
Like it's like,
yeah.
Like where do you go from there? Like, so at what point do you go from like, okay, I'm at this, but like at what point do you start listening to your own intuition and being like, fuck, I think
the problem is that I feel like you can't have your cake and eat it too. As I started listening to my intuition, but I also stayed. So I ended up getting fired because I was listening to myself, and I was the things that I wasn't okay with that were going on, I was talking to people about that worked there so they would be aware of it. And obviously that's a cancer for somebody that's trying to run a business. So I was actually following my intuition, but you can't stay there at the same time. You know what I mean? I should have just walked away. And I'm honestly, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, was getting fired from that place. The best thing that's ever happened to me. Because I was like looking at myself like, what are you going to do? Like, are you just going to go back to doing that same thing and go back and find another job that's exactly like that one with the same amount of money? Or are you going to now take this time to see that this is your chance to tell people about what to believe in, believe in themselves, and believe in character and integrity. And like, I made up this thing that it's like, we judge a man by times when he has nothing, when nobody's around, and when there's nothing in it for him. Who are you in those times? Who are you when you don't have anything? Who are you when you have no materials? Who are you when you strip yourself down? Who are you when nobody's around? When nobody's watching? What are you doing?
Right.
And who are you when you're in situations that nothing benefits you? What do you do? And I feel like those are 3 questions that a lot of people need to ask themselves. Are you willing to do something when there's no guarantee? Are you willing to do something when there's nothing in it for you? And I think that's a problem with our generation in our relationships. We're the 2020 and in our generation, we're the generation of entrepreneurs, which is fantastic. But we're also the highest suicides ever, the most depression, the most all this stuff, because I feel like
numbers are stupid high.
These numbers are stupid high.
They don't even make sense, brother. It's crazy.
And so I feel like, but I feel like we can be that change and we can be that balance, because I feel like the reason that it was a little lower in our older generations because they conformed. And I feel like that's why they didn't do those kind of things. It's like, some people obviously change, but you marry one person and whether you're happy or not, you stay with them and you stay at your job and you pay your bills. And it's like, now we're on the opposite end of the extreme. Right. We don't want to work at all. And we don't want to be in our relationships that are hard. And we don't want to do any things that are, we don't want to have compassion for people. The shit that happens right now in 2020 was not happening a long time ago. People were more compassionate. People were helping people. There wasn't, the amount of, like those numbers that we're talking about, those numbers were not like that for a reason, because we had better quality human beings. I was at the gym the other day with my homeboy. I was stretching and he was at the squat rack, and it's a wooden platform for deadlifting. He walks over and I'm like, he's going to the front desk. I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on. Somebody had spilled their whole entire water bottle on the platform, walked away, filled up his water bottle and came back. So he told the guy at the front desk, and the guy at the front desk walked over, cleaned it up in front of the guy that spilled it. The guy watched him clean it up and didn't say a fucking word. I walked over to him.
Some weirdo shit.
I walked over to him and I tapped him and I said, that was the most disrespectful shit I've seen in a long time.
Ooh, good for you, damn.
And he was like, what? And I was like, you spilled that water and you just watched a guy walk over here, clean that up, and it's not his job. And you didn't say shit to him. And he was like, oh yeah, you're right, my bad. I was like, dude, don't say sorry to me, bro. Yeah. You don't owe me an apology. Go say sorry to him. Yeah. Like, the fact that he came up with the situation in his head so fast, and he looked at that dude and was like, if I don't say anything or if I disrespect this guy, it doesn't matter because he has a job to do and he'll lose his job if he says anything to me. So, jeez. That's what he was thinking.
What a shitty place to put people in.
And that's what I'm saying. The quality of people that we have right now is just shitty, because I feel like we're not empathetic because we fail to dig into ourselves.
Yeah.
And we fail to, you think other people are ugly because you won't look yourself in the mirror and see that you're ugly. Everybody's ugly. Everybody's ugly and everybody's beautiful.
Ooh, ain't that the truth?
I mean, it's true. It's so true. And I just,
we all got a bad wolf, dude. Sometimes we've been feeding it too long.
Exactly.
We also got a good wolf,
Yeah, I just, I don't know. It drives me insane to see shit like that. And I think, one of the reasons that I'm like so motivated to be different now is that I was that guy. Mm-hmm. I would have been that guy. I can't really say I would have done that, but
how do you see? Okay, so like in this situation, you can see it now as like I was like similar. I could have been that guy without. And the thing is, I don't think back then, say 3 years ago, you're this guy. Like you let the shit spill. You're like, I don't care. Like, I don't think the thought is, I know I spilled that. I know that fucking guy has to come clean it up. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm whatever. Like, I don't think it's so much like it's his fucking job to clean it up. I think it's more of like, you're so caught up in thinking about yourself. You're so caught up in your own, whatever, that you're actually not self-aware. You're actually not, or emotionally aware of other people having, because like even if, so in this moment, as this dude's wiping this up, right? What would hurt the guy who spilled the bottle, what hurt him is to realize like, damn, bro, I just made that guy work harder. I feel a little embarrassed.
Yeah.
And so to avoid that pain, you don't even look at it. Yeah. You're like, oh, well, he's picking it up. Carry on with my fucking bicep curl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of the things that we do, we don't even notice that what other people are suffering through because of us, because of our lack of self-awareness.
I agree,
like our lack of, we're so caught up in our own shit sometimes.
I think that what you and I have an advantage of that not a lot of people talk about is like relationships. I really feel like our relationships, romantic relationships, in our day and age are just, especially our age people, are just bad, dude. Like really, really bad. And I think that's a huge part of what's going on with our relationships, is that we're not self-aware, and we don't do the things that are necessary to be able to put ourselves in our partner's shoes. And it's like, how can I look at you? We have this vision for this person, right? You meet them, that honeymoon stage, right? And everything's great, it's like, oh God, we're just having sex all the time, and it's great, and it's lovey-dovey, and you can't get enough of them, and you spend every single day with them, and the second that they show you something you don't like, we're ready to skate.
Right.
And I did that for so long, and that's why I bounced around in relationships, and that's why I have the reputation that I have, is because it didn't matter how long it lasted me. Hey, if it lasted 6 months and you didn't show me something ugly, that's great. Then we're at 6 months. Mm-hmm. If we lasted a year and you didn't show me something like that, that's great. If it lasted 2 days and you showed me something ugly, see ya. But I feel like what character is and what kind of person I am is that's not it. And I was doing something where I was using somebody else to fill something for me. And the second that I saw a side of them that I didn't like, boom, see ya.
Right.
Because of the fact I wasn't willing to do the work with myself, and I wasn't able to dig into my own shit. So there's something about me that's ugly inside. And until I get there, until I do that work, until I heal those childhood traumas, until I heal all the bullshit that I've been through, until I get past the fact that my first girlfriend left me, until I get past all that, there's no possible way for me to be empathetic towards my partner. There's no way.
Right.
And I'm like, it's crazy because it's not until, these years later that I feel bad. I literally put these people through hell. And Jake, I swear, I never felt bad. No matter what I did, I never once felt bad until right now.
That's fucking heavy.
It's crazy. I've been trying my best, not to everybody, but to respect people's boundaries, but to reach out to people and apologize to them. Right. Because I feel like, it's like, it's one of those just like better late than never kind of things. Right. Because I've been so heavy on my heart. Like, I'm just like, I gotta say something. Right. Even if it doesn't, even if it doesn't hit them, even if they don't give a shit, even if they don't, I finally understand now that I've dug into myself. This is what you've done to people. When people are looking at you crying and you're looking at them like, oh my God, you're so dramatic. Get away from me. You're so ugly. Right. Your traumas and your triggers they're too much for me. Yeah. When the whole time I was the ugly one. Because I wasn't sympathetic and I wasn't empathetic and I wasn't able to put myself in the person's shoes. I think that having a healthy form of empathy, I don't think you should make decisions based on empathy, like, oh, I feel bad for you, so I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. But taking that person's pain as your own, how do you expect to have a long-lasting relationship if you don't have that kind of connection? Right. And I think that's something that we really lack right now. And I think in friendships too. 2020, everybody's like, fucking cut the bullshit. And I think that's great. I'm all about being positive. I don't like negativity, but at the same time, I value relationships. So what point do we stop looking at people before we walk away from them and say, instead of saying you're ugly, you're negative, you're toxic, bye, what point do we look them in the face and say, what's going on? Mm-hmm. What can I do? Right. Instead of, that's what we're doing. Yeah. People are ghosting people. People are cutting people off. People are walking away from their friends and family and relationships before we ask. If that's what's healthy for you, if you have to get away, fine. But fucking ask first. Right. Ask. Ask what is wrong.
You notice a lot of times when you ask people like that, when you just like get into those moments of just giving them the space to change, and giving them the space of being like, hey, you know what, bro, I see that whatever you're mad about, you ain't mad about that. What the fuck's really going on? And like a lot of times they can put up their guard quick, we all do, but a lot of times you can just ask them, and it's enough for them to kind of like be like, oh shit, my momentum was in the wrong direction, wasn't it? Kind of stop them and be like, what is going on? And then like, damn, there's a friend asking if I'm okay. What should I say? Right? Should I tell him that I'm not? And sometimes that's all it takes, just asking, you know?
Yeah, and it's like, I think the reason we don't ask is because we have this fear that something in us might be exposed. So that's why we don't ask. Right. We're like, there's a reason that person is toxic for you. I firmly believe that if someone's in your life and they're toxic for you, it means that there's something that you need to deal with, you know? So, or if someone's making you uncomfortable, or if someone is healthy pushes in the right direction are necessary. And I feel like we take them as challenges, especially as males. So if you're trying to help us, a female, you don't know. We know.
Yeah.
We know where we're going. We're the guys. We're supposed to have everything, you know, like under control, and we're supposed to have everything figured out, you know, and we don't. If anything, I firmly believe that males need more guidance than females.
Dude, yeah, I agree. I'm with you on that. 100%. I just watched, actually, it's like the whole masculine feminine thing is fresh in my mind. I just watched last night Birds of Prey, the one with Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Like
the Suicide Squad one. And Shaylee and I were talking about like masculine and feminine energy last night. I feel like we hear that. Do you stumble across that, and like the things that you watch and things you consume, like masculine energy, feminine? Because it's something that's new to me, but I used to kind of be like, that's kind of fucking weirdo. But like it starts to make more sense. And
I think that's what creates connection. So I think for males, I think we're brought up to be like a little hardened, and I think what makes us not deal with the stuff that we have going on inside is what keeps us hardened. And when we start dealing with those problems and dealing with those traumas, I feel like we soften up a little bit, and we get to the point where we can take care of our women. Like, that's just what it comes down to. Like, a women need to be emotionally taken care of. And if you haven't gone back and done that work, you cannot take care of a woman emotionally. You can't.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Women need to be taken care of emotionally. And if we don't, as men, go back and deal with the shit that we need to deal with, we cannot take care of them. We can't.
You can't show up fully.
No, because what are you going to do when she has a problem? How do we deal with them? Stop crying about it.
Right.
What do you mean?
And I think, dude, something that I've had to discover, because I thought that I could fucking just like push away my shit I had to deal with from childhood forever. I thought I was just good. Like, I'm good. I'm tough. I'm cool. Like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm fine. But
because that's what we're supposed to do.
But dude, like then you get to a point where like a couple of years ago, it's like boiling point. And what fell into me is I'm just naked, having the worst anxiety attack of my life. Shaylee's holding me as I'm just bawling in her lap for like hours. And it was like this like healing thing I've talked about here before. Yeah. I mean, and like that was one of the most difficult things I've ever done, is just have that like for anybody to see any of us like that, like to be a man in this world, like of course you don't want anybody to see you cry, but like for me, it's like I would get behind closed doors by myself in my own house, cry. That's how I would just have my breakdowns. But I'd be like, if Shaylee sees that shit, dude, she is leaving me instantly. There's no fucking way. She's not staying with me.
Yeah, there's that like, weird fear.
But it's made our relationship better than it's ever been. Like, my relationship is stronger than it's ever been.
It's one of those things, like, we don't want to have a chink in our armor, dude. So if we do, it's like, you know, we've put on this, we've made this character as a male. It's big, it's strong, it's, you know what I mean? It can defend, it can protect. But if we take that down, who are we? And I think that's the separation in our relationships right now, is that women don't operate like that. Women don't operate in a sense where, you know, all my man does is go out, provide, and protect me. That's it. You're not set up to succeed like that. And I think that's the problem, is that people are telling us that's what we need to do. People are telling us we're supposed to go out and get these jobs. You're supposed to have these material flashy things. You're supposed to have this. You're supposed to have that. This is the form of masculinity that we've been shaped to apply our lives to. And now we're wondering why our relationships are failing because we can't connect with our women.
Right.
The reason that you're able to connect with her is that you've finally shown her who you really are. How can you connect with someone if you're not authentic? I think that sounds a little harsh, but when we're putting on that mask that we do, we're not being authentic.
Right.
It's a lie. You're lying to your partner. Subconsciously. You're not speaking it, but in not showing who you truly are, you're lying. Yeah. I mean, I think that was a big failure in my last relationship, is that I was scared to show my partner who I really was. She never, ever, ever showed me that she would leave me if I told her anything, but I just had this weird thing about, I can't tell her. I can't tell her these things. I can't tell her who I am inside because I'm a monster. I feel like she's going to judge me. I feel like, I've had people before where they would be like, just tell me these things, then you tell them and they bounce. So you build up this wall and you almost lose trust in everyone.
Right.
When you shouldn't. You need to be authentic in who you are and trust that the people that are supposed to be in your life are going to be there. And I truly believe that if I would have just opened up and just was like, these are the things that I'm dealing with.
Right.
This is why. Will you explore them with me? Will you take me to this place that I've never gone and I really don't want to go? But I think that if we do, that it will help our relationship. Right. Finding a partner like that, and I really think that men are so scared to show that side of them. And I think if we start, that we would be surprised how much better our relationships will get and how much stronger of a connection we'll have with our women if we show those sides of us. That's all they want. Like, if someone is afraid of your demons, they're not meant for you anyways. And I truly believe that.
Yeah, goddamn, dude, it's hitting me hard when you're saying this, just because like I'm going through like just like how sturdy Shaylee is by my side through all this shit. Like I was telling you, man, I had some stuff from my childhood that I'm just now dealing with. I was avoiding it for too long. Within Lily the last week, and it's been a lot of like I'm talking to Shaylee about it, like we're just bullshitting and hanging out on the we're watching TV, we're having a good time. Yeah. And then I just start fucking bawling, dude. I can't take it. And it happens like multiple times a day because I'm just going through a pretty emotional time because of it. But like she just her posture gets stronger and she just fucking holds me, man. And she helps me figure out, and she lets me just ramble these words out. And she's like, okay, well, like maybe it's this. And she doesn't judge me. She doesn't make me feel worse for it. It's just like these things that I had spent so much time just being terrified. Like nobody's ever going to fucking, I'm taking that to the grave with me. Like that's my trauma. That's my shit, and when you,
I feel like it's this weird transformation of we've become something that we never wanted because somebody else told us that's what we're supposed to be. And now you have to go all the way back.
Yeah, you got to rewind. You went down the wrong path.
It's almost like emotionally you're starting over and you're rewiring yourself like from a child. So in order to get to where you're supposed to be and to really truly be who you are, it's going to be rough. I mean, it's been rough for me. I've always made it a joke, but I've always had like task anxiety. Like, oh, I need to get this done. I need to get this done. If I don't get it done, I don't feel good. But I've been having real anxiety lately, like waking up in the middle of the night, heart pumping, can't keep my legs still. Like for anybody that's had that, like salute to you, because this shit's no joke.
It's real, bro.
It's real.
It's real. It's a human thing. It's okay to feel it. You don't have to like pretend you didn't feel it either.
Yeah, and I really feel like I'm just something's going on that I'm not dealing with, and I'm like I said, I got to be motivational, and I got to get up, and lately it's been I feel like my creative brain has been better at night, so I've been staying up hella late instead of getting my ass up really early. I'll stay up to like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning because I just feel like my creative brain is just, I don't know, something about it. Something about letting things happen during the day and then unwinding at night and then letting it all out somewhere on a piece of paper or through a video or something. It's just something about it is so much better. I feel like when I wake up, my brain's fresh, which could be good, but I feel like that's when I'm taking information in instead of letting information out. But yeah, I've been having a hard time sleeping, bro. I mean, I haven't slept in a really long time. And I feel like it's something that I'm holding in that I need to let out. And you gotta go there. You gotta go there. You have to go there with yourself. You have to dig up that shit that you don't want to dig up. That's how we create better connections with our partners. That's how we create better connections with ourselves. You can't know what you want if you're living a life that somebody else built for you. You can't know what you want if you're living a life where you're running from your past or you're running from things. Like, you're still carrying it.
Right.
And yeah, we got to grow, and it's a lot harder than you think. I really thought growth was success for a really long time. Like, well, I'm growing. My income is increasing. Yeah. I'm in a relationship.
Closer to buying a house.
I'm closer to buying a house. I don't have a car payment. I paid my car off. I live in a really nice place. I'm growing. And I wasn't. I was going backwards because in that time that I was doing all those things and accomplishing, quote unquote, I was unhappy. So you're either growing or you're dying, I feel like. And I feel like my soul was dying every single day that I wasn't being authentic, every single day that I wasn't dealing with the shit that I should have been dealing with to make my relationship strong. And and there's two sides to everything, but I feel like, someone that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with is my fault, because I'm going to use the word that I don't know if I should use because we're talking about masculinity, but I couldn't man up.
Right.
Like,
that doesn't have to be a toxic sentence. I mean,
yeah, and I think that's the redefinition of it is like doing the things that are necessary.
Yeah.
Like, even emotionally, we think that it's like all physical, but it's not. It's like, I should have just manned up and communicated about the things I was going through. I know that it would have brought us closer together, and if it didn't, then we weren't meant for each other. But how can I be empathetic to her? How can I be, empathetic or sympathetic to anything that she's gone through, anything that I've done to hurt her feelings and to take care of her emotionally if I'm not in touch with that side of myself? And that's where I feel like that softens us. When we deal with ourselves, we connect ourselves to our feminine. How do you think you're going to connect with a woman? You're not with a dude.
Right.
You want to marry a dude, then all fine.
Ain't with a dude.
Be bros up and clank your Coors Lights together and have a great life. But you want to be with a woman, you have to be in touch with your feminine. I don't care what anybody says. You have to be.
I agree.
Because how can you take care of her?
Hey, how are you going to understand this person across from you? Like trying to understand.
It's a different being. They're a different being. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. We're like when we're talking, everything that you say, I'm not thinking that you should be thinking of it as if you lived Jake Ryan's life up until now.
Yeah,
like it's you having a completely different perspective. Mm-hmm. And not only that life, but it's like the way that things are handled emotionally, the way that, like, dude, a woman is a completely different being than us. Yeah. And we've got to, like, be able to meet them where they're at and have we were talking about this thing. We were talking about, I use the example of like mowing your lawn. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes you could be a dude mowing your lawn, and then all of a sudden you get interrupted through your headphones because a guy in a Honda Civic just drove past your house. Yeah. And he revs up his engine. You're like, what the fuck was that about? And like that dude in the Honda Civic probably doesn't even realize he just did this kind of like douchey, like, I'm a man and you're a man, notice me thing. Oh. Like, Like and I'm not even clowning because I have plenty of the same things. There's plenty of times that I have a fucking, my car has 22s and I'm super proud of that.
Oh, yeah.
When I'm driving.
Oh,
And
yeah.
definitely when I got a sound system and I see another motherfucker with like, he's got a pretty cool car.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn my sound system
Oh, you
up.
have to.
Dude, and like nowadays though, like I feel like I see that and I'm like, what am I trying to do here? Like what a dorky ass thing to do am I trying to do?
It's a competition.
Yeah.
It's a male masculinity competition. We think that
what are we competing for in that moment though?
So because we think that it's all about mating. That's what our brain is wired. Our brain is wired for mating. So even though we're trying to impress girls, what we're actually trying to do is shit on the other guy.
Yeah.
Because if that puts you on top of the food chain, you have your pick of the litter of your mates.
Well, think about animals what popped in my head
That's
was like
really
a
what we
crab.
are.
Well, we are animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's a woman here and like this crab is going to prove to that woman that, so because he wants to mate with her, he's going to fucking crab his claws. Like I got the biggest claws and he's going to make a dance. He's not even talking to the woman. He's just dancing randomly.
That's what
and there's another bro that walks by and he's like, what the fuck? I got bigger claws. And like they're battling with they fight each other, but it's for the girl.
Instead of talking to the woman,
yeah,
we fight each other.
She's like, well, I'm just going to go watch some TV if you guys are just going to do this
man,
shit.
It's crazy. I feel like that's like that that whole unhealthy like going out life that's all about. I find that like, when I people watch and I work in a bar, so it's like a lot of times these dudes aren't even talking to the girls. They're like just spending their time worrying about what these other dudes think about them, because it's like this subconscious of being better than the guy next to you, right, so you can be chosen by that woman.
Right. Well, and sometimes I think that we go into these environments thinking that we're just having a good night and thinking that we're just I'm just chilling. But like, bro, what's happening in your body is you walk into that bar, you walk into that club, that environment, and you're fucking puffed up, bro.
Yeah.
You're like, I think I'm out here to have a good time with the boys. I think I'm out here to listen to some good music. But what's really happening is you're just walking around with your chest as hard as you can get it and making sure nobody thinks they can fuck with you.
Ooh.
Like, bro, you're stuck in a you can't fuck with me attitude the whole night instead of just living your life.
Yep.
Like if you're having a conversation one-on-one, it's just you and your friend from college, you haven't seen him in a while, you're at the bar, it's a busy ass bar. You can't even be focused on this one-on-one conversation if you're kind of concerned that like somebody's going to beat you up. You're kind of concerned that like you park next to that motherfucker, you don't really like him, like he's here. Like it's this thing that we do to ourselves. And I think just noticing like, oh shit, my brain, like I'm not my thoughts for one. Like my brain is like, okay, it seems that I'm kind of like worried more about other people right now. What's that all about? Like shake that off with your body, you know? Like let your guard down if you are in these positions. But yeah, dude, you got to notice.
Again, being self-aware. What am I really worried about in this moment? What's going to get me towards what I want? And ultimately, if it's about a relationship, you're going the opposite direction. Going outwards and trying to be better than the next person next to you, or trying to be better than your own ego, or trying to be more masculine. You're going the opposite way when you should be walking backwards towards your partner.
Right.
And this is what we do. We go out and we want to get drunk and we want to fight and we want to prove our masculinity, but the masculinity in itself is in the turning around. And in the turning around and go, no, like what is it going to take for my partner to feel good? And what's it going to take for us to have a better relationship? That's what masculinity is to me. It's not the flexing. It's not the chest puffing. It's not all the other bullshit. It's connecting the two energies, connecting the masculine, connecting the feminine. Is my partner truly happy? Or am I just out here trying to prove something that doesn't fucking matter?
Right.
Because
I'm caught up in my own shit that I'm not even seeing.
You don't see it.
Yeah.
So then you neglect your partner, you neglect their needs. What does it really take? What does it really take to take care of a woman?
I had this moment, I've talked about it on here before, I might have told you before, a couple of years ago, and I just was texting Shaylee about it this morning, where I had this like, I don't know where it came from, but I had this like moment of like hope almost. Like it wasn't like my typical like, what are you doing, you fucking piece of shit, fuck you. Like that's how I normally feel. But I had this hopeful moment of what happened. Literally, we went out, we had a couple drinks and we had a good night. We had fun. And we were wasn't out that late. It was just like kind of a chill night. We're just going. And what happened is I felt a little too tipsy to drive. And so I got behind the wheel. And what I did, Shaylee sitting right next to me, is I pulled out a bag blow that I had and I took a key bump, just to clear it before I drive.
Yeah.
And then what happened is I took this key bump in this sudden thing, which normally this is where self-hate would come. But I had this sudden, like, what if you just made normal to this fucking wonderful person next to you? What if you just made, because she didn't bat an eye. She was just texting. She knew that I just did it. Like but like, I'm like, Jesus, like I care about this one more than anything in the world. And like, not that she's going to hate me for whatever I'm going through, but like, I just made this situation normal. I'm a little more tipsy than I want to be. I wasn't drunk, but I was, her life was in more danger than if I was completely sober. Right. And I made that normal, bro. And I had this intuition of like, what are you doing? Like, and it sparked this thing in me, man. And it was like, I don't know, but I think that if more people can like see those small moments of like, we're so caught up in our own heads. I'm like, well, I want to make sure that I can drive, but I don't want to fucking DUI, like whatever. That's what I'm thinking. Instead of being like, how about like, what, like she is alive on this earth, and like, what, like, do I want her to like waste her time with me sucking?
Yeah.
Like what am I going to make her, like the rest of her life? How does it look if I continue to do this?
Yeah.
Am I just going to keep doing more bumps of blow next month?
And because again, it's having integrity. Like, she loves you, and you're like, men do things that we can get away with 100%. That's why if I listen to a lot of these things about relationships, and like, don't sleep with somebody on the first day, because we're going to take what we can get. That's just, what I mean? That's just what we do. If you keep doing that, and she may not be okay with it, but she may be like, I love Jake. He's going through something, like, hopefully this passes, but it's like, you, in that moment, you realize that you're like, what am I doing? Like, what am I putting her through because I can?
Right.
Because I know that she loves me.
Right.
And obviously, I mean, I don't know what her thoughts are on that, but I'm sure she's like, oh, I guess. I mean, sure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she was just, it was a thing that I had made. It had become normal. That situation had become normal. Not that I did it all the time, but she didn't bat an eye. It was whatever. But I was so, again, you're so destructive in your own path. Like I'm not caring about myself. And this is what we're talking about, like how you can shift your perspective and realize that you're in your own head, is start caring about somebody else, bro. Like instead of like, I'm thinking like even making her think towards me, like if she was like, hey, what are you doing? I'd be like, well, I need it. And like, blah, blah. You'd probably have some justification, right? Mm-hmm. But even then, justifying it is still me not looking out for her.
Yeah. And you, there had to have been some sort of underlying thing there, and why you thought that was okay, and whatever created that habit for you that you didn't realize. And that's what again, being self-aware, like we talk about, what is driving you to do unhealthy things. It's not just the unhealthy thing. There's something attached to the unhealthy thing that's making you do that. Until you find out the root of what that is, you can't snip that unhealthy thing. You can't just cut out the unhealthy thing, because of the fact that humans need a reason for everything. We as much as we say it is what it is, we don't think that. We don't ever think it is what it is. We always, why? Why do I do this? Why do I do that? Why did that person do this? Why did I end up here?
That makes so much sense.
Everything has to have a reason. You have to connect a reason to it, which is fine. So do that. Figure out that reason. Figure out why you're doing those unhealthy things. My biggest issue in my last relationship was sex. I looked at sex one way for a very long time, and it was about dominance, and it was about a woman self-sacrificing, and it was about affirmation. So I needed the dominance because I wanted to feel powerful. I needed the affirmation because I was seeking it from my dad, and he wasn't giving it to me. So I thought if somebody else was telling me I was good, oh yeah, you're good at this, you're good at this, you're good at this, you're so strong, you're so this, you're so that. And it was about self-sacrifice. So can you do something that you don't really believe in, or something that you don't really necessarily like to do for me? You must love me. You must care about me. And so now when I'm with my partner, who I truly do have genuine feelings for, how do I shake that part of me? How do I get to a point where I'm not thinking about sex that way? How do I get to a point where sex isn't about dominance and it's about love and it's about sharing something with somebody? How do I get to that point where I'm not thinking about being affirmed, or I'm not, which I mean, I don't think in a healthy relationship that's a bad thing, but the dominance and the self-sacrifice is bad. You know, I was with a strong-willed woman and was like, something in your eye tells me that you're getting off on what I'm doing in a different way. Like something about this looks unhealthy, Nate. Like you look like you're enjoying this in a different way than I think you are. And I looked at, you know, I was almost into like this weird, like porn style sex. And then when I got with somebody that I was cared about, how do I have sex now? Now I'm confused. Right. Now I'm like, oh, well, maybe we should just like, you know, make love like all the time and like just do missionary and like, because I don't want to pull your hair or do anything like that, because that brings me back to where I was, because I wasn't dealing with it and I didn't know what was triggering it. And I had sex like that ever since I can remember, from 18 all the way to 26, and partner after partner after partner after partner after partner, the same stuff, just getting worse and worse and worse and worse and getting more deeper because it wasn't fulfilling me. So if I think that this is going to fulfill me and it doesn't, it becomes an obsession. So I'm obsessed with trying to get this affirmation and taking it deeper and getting like more emotionally checked out and just being like, you know, like, who are you? Like you're just like an animal at this point. Right. And that was huge in our relationship is the fact that I couldn't differentiate the sex. I couldn't differentiate it was like, you know, it's a, like, you got to be able to do everything for your partner and for your, you know, but I'm like, you know, I can't do this style with you. I can't do these certain things with you because it's triggering something in me that makes me go back to these things that I was once doing before, because I hadn't dealt with it. I hadn't dealt with all these needs that I needed from, why do I need dominance? Why do I need to be affirmed? You know what I mean? Why do I need these? Why do I need all these things mentally? And why are they coming through in sex?
Right. You think it's because sex is like the easiest way to get it?
Yep.
Like
100%.
Bro, I think I listen to, I feel like it comes up in a lot of the podcasts that I listen to. They talk about like the state of pornography. And, you know, so even outside of ourselves, just like pornography as like, just look at it. If you had never watched pornography before, like, and you're really looking at it, like comparing what happens when you watch a video versus like an actual relationship, you know, like the way that sex isn't a thing that you're taught growing up. It's not a thing that like you're, like, it's like, hey, here's the rules and here's how you communicate this and here's what it means and here's this. And so I think that a lot of people, and I just like pointing out like porn is like, dude, imagine being a young kid right now. Like, I mean, like, I'm sure growing up, like you and I probably watched fucking whatever, and that probably painted visions of what we think was okay or whatever too. But right now, imagine like, dude, bro, you can be any years old and you could for free go to whatever porn website and you could watch the most fucked up shit with the fucked up title and all this stuff. And like, bro, like, what's this going to do to these kids in 10 years?
And I think that's the problem, is that we get this shit in our head of that's what's normal. Yeah. Now I'm like, these kind of things are what's making me, or what's getting me off. Like, and it was just like so unhealthy. Like it was, what was unhealthy about it wasn't the acts, because I'm not into like weird shit. But it was the dominance. It was the dominance, and in that dominance, it was emotionally disconnecting. Kinda, and like that's what was making it unhealthy.
Remember you get ready in the dark?
Yeah.
Remember you talked about that before? It's kind of like, almost like getting the sex, and then it's like you lock into that dark place and just like dissociate. Like, I'm in that dark place now.
Yeah.
Same place you would.
It was so weird, man. It was really tough for me, and that's why I took the whole abstinence route. It's because it was confusing. I was like, yo, I can't keep doing this. Right. Like, I really have to put an end to this, and it's hard. And it's hard to talk about too. I mean, think about it. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're just a pussy." Like,
Right.
what do you like? And it was
That's been the normal conversation
Yeah.
our whole lives, man.
And it's just like, to come out, as a young male, 28 years old, and say that I'm confused with sex. Like, that's not an easy thing, but
Right.
I feel like that's somebody else is going through that. And if I talk about it, I can just be a catalyst. And that's what I want to do. And that's what everything is coming down to in this whole vulnerability thing for me, and talking about the things that I go through is I know I'm going to connect with somebody.
Right.
Somebody can reach out to me, or someone's going to listen to this, and they're going to, and they're going to be like, wow, I'm not alone,
Yeah.
or, look at who he is on his Instagram and his highlights, but he still goes through this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, I like to show this stuff more often than people think, just because life's not always sweet, you know what I mean? And I think what we do, especially in our relationships, is we're like, well, that's our business. That's our business. No, fuck. Even if like you break up, you might be able to help another couple. Like, if there's some things that you're embarrassed about, I mean, that's just, you can help somebody else. And that's why I feel like it did take me a while to talk about this kind of stuff, but I feel like if there's somebody or another male or another couple that goes through this kind of shit right now, and if someone can look at this and say, wow, maybe it is okay to talk about it. Because it is. It's okay to talk about everything.
Right.
Everything. You cannot work through shit alone. 100% by yourself. People use counselors, people use therapists, people, their partners. Like, I know very few people that can dig into the darkest depths of their mind and go there and come out on the other side by themselves. It's very tough.
Right.
So,
but I think even getting into that and going into it, grabbing the, I think a lot of times that I like something that I try to like reiterate, because something that like we almost forget about, or something. Like when we're listening to people, or like, oh, I ain't that, or I ain't that. Like, so if somebody's like in the, if there's some 17-year-old who just loves hardcore porn more than anything, he's listening to us right now. He's probably like, fuck, bro, what are you saying? But I think that like a huge thing is like, dude, you aren't born one way, and you don't have to stay that way.
Yeah.
And I think that if you come to a point in your life where you notice like, man, this isn't fucking working for me. This shit is not working. There's this moment in Get Him to the Greek where Russell Brand jumps off the fucking jump off the building, and he jumps into the pool, but he hits his arm and he fucking breaks his arm and shatters blood everywhere. And he just, Aaron comes up and he's like, man, he's like, I want some help. He's like, it's just not working for me. This is not working. And I think that, dude, if you can get to this fucking point in your life, dude, it's just not working
so
for
metaphorical.
you, bro. Yeah, man. It's not working, man.
This isn't working, dude.
Yeah, there's blood everywhere around here in the pool.
God.
But I think, dude, it's like because I would get caught up in like hating myself too much to motivate myself. Like, and I think just knowing like, okay, I have these things that are coming up and I want to change them, and I want to think differently, and I want to do differently, and I don't want to do a bump a blow before I drive my girlfriend around.
Yeah.
Like, I think just like when you have that moment, that little like fucking firefly or whatever it is, that little spark of something that comes up, you got to just be like, cool, maybe I wasn't that way before, but I can change. Like I can start to think differently. And changing isn't immediate either. Like sometimes it takes pain. Like you're like, I notice these things and you're like, I'm having a fucking bad couple of days, man.
Dude,
like,
a lot of
rough.
times the light shines through the wound. Remember that. The light shines through the wound. There's something about being in pain, and I just think of it directly with working out. Like being pain, like having that lactic acid just build up in your chest or your legs or wherever, in your arms, and it's like this bro pump, right? But there's something that's so satisfying when you put it down. And I really feel like I've gotten there mentally too. Like, Nate, you're always better after this. You always feel better after this. You always connect with somebody after this. I neglected connection for so long. I was that guy. Like, I would literally go to a bar to eat. I would get off at my work, go to another bar to eat, and I would leave my headphones in the entire time, so no one would talk to me. Like, I neglected connection because I was so worried about myself and so in my head that, and I not wanting to deal with, the shit. I was really just afraid someone was going to ask me a question that was going to hit me in the wrong way. Like, are you going to ask me something that's going to bring up something that I don't want to deal with?
Right.
And so I just kept to myself. I shut so many people out. I lost a lot of friends. My ego was so strong that I pushed people away from me too, because I would just like, if you don't, this is easier for me just to get you out of my life than to deal with what I have going on and then create a connection with you. And now I'm just like, man, I take that extra time to create connections with people. I still don't drink, but honestly, I have been going out to like after work functions and hanging out with friends, and like I'm creating friendships. Like I have a dude that I'm recently just started being friends with from work, and our connection is like crazy. And I'm like, dude, how many other people could I have done this with?
Right.
Like, how many other people could I have had these dope connections with if I would have just opened myself up? And and even like, I'm like, oh, it's this dude is like, he's a football player, so I'm like, oh, he probably don't want to hear what the fuck I have to say. And I judge him. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, he's a fucking man's man. You know what I'm saying? He don't want to hear about this shit. He's more manly
than me. He don't want to hear my girl shit.
Yeah, and it's like completely opposite. He's talking to me about his relationship. He's talking to me about the shit that he's gone through. It's just like, whoa, like, again, how many people are going through things that you don't know about? Or when you're neglecting to go through your own shit, you could have been connecting with somebody, but instead you're emotionally disconnected. And that's where I was. And I was emotionally disconnected everywhere. I couldn't care for anyone around me because I didn't care for myself.
Right.
To dig into that and to pull up the things that you need to deal with and to pull up the childhood bullshit, that creates self-love. Like it really does, because then you're empathetic for yourself.
Right.
You can look at yourself and be like, yo, I've made it through that.
Right.
Like, but if you don't even think about it, if you're just worried about the next thing and the next thing and next thing, that's what the unfulfilling feeling is. But when you turn backwards and you look yourself in the mirror and be like, I went through that whole time of fucking hell and I bodied that shit and I murdered it.
Right.
You get that self-love and you get that empathy for yourself, and then you can pass it on to somebody else. You can't love somebody until you love yourself. You can't love your friends. You can't love your family how you're supposed to until you can love yourself. Until you can be empathetic inside you, you can't pass it. You can't share anything you don't have.
Right.
You can't share anything that you don't have.
It's huge, man. It's huge, and I was also distracted by the sound of that running water. It's fucking bummed me out.
That's okay. I like it.
That's the thing about headphones. Sorry, dude, shit, that's enough to throw me off. I'm sorry. Fuck, man. I agree. I think just like giving yourself grace to dig into it and know that people are still going to love you. You know? I think that's been a huge thing. Like reframing who you are from the ground up is like just as big as it sounds, bro. Like going back, like I was saying, like there's some shit that I was like dealing with from younger. Like going back, it's like it hurts to even talk about. Like, let alone like rip it apart and see like, all right, what has it caused me bad? What does it cause me good? What is it like taking? Dude, it's opening doors that are closed, really. Like in reframing your mental structures.
One thing I really want people to know, and I really, really want to drive this home, is that reframing your mind and rebuilding yourself is an accomplishment. Take that win.
Right.
Don't let anybody take that from you. That is a win. If you are happy, that is a win. Don't let anybody tell you because you don't have this or because you don't have that or because you're broke or because you live with your parents or because you do this. No matter what it is, if you have rebuilt yourself inside, you are a fucking winner.
Yeah.
You are. Because that shit is so hard. Like, and also too, if you can tell people about it, like, what do you think this guy's thinking of me when I'm like, I don't know, I just want to be happy? Like, what's next for you?
Right.
Trying to be happy. He like, that's why I don't like those surface level conversations, because I'm like, yo, we have nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
You're miserable.
You're
and you're
seeing
not,
me through your frame.
Yeah, and you're miserable and not willing to talk about it, and I am. So this is going to be a bullshit conversation. Because you're not going to be honest with me, and I'm going to be honest with you.
Think about that situation. Like if I was in the other person's shoes, just like if somebody told me like, oh, if I'm like, hey man, what's next? Like, what's up? Like, and they told me like, yeah, I just want to be happy. I'd be like, okay, like tell me about that. Like I'd be like, whoa, shit, that seems like holy shit, what an incredible opportunity
Dude,
for a
and if-
beautiful, honest conversation.
Dude.
And you just shut that off by saying like, well, when you work at the mill, you'll be happy or whatever.
Yeah, it's
you know
like,
what I'm saying?
what are you gonna do? Well, so you must be looking for a new career.
Yeah.
Like, no, dude, that's what I'm
Everybody's
not trying to do.
different, dude. They got to go through different stages. But I think that when you can meet somebody where they're at, not where you're at, you know, not like.
Yeah, and I wasn't offended by it. I just think it was like one of those things where it's like, again, I've been there. Like I feel like I saw the world through a different lens my whole entire life, but I was so caught up in myself that I conformed.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, I was a bully in high school. I would look at these kids and I would be like, oh, that's an easy way for me to feel better about myself. But instead of looking at like, why do you see that kid that way? Because you see him differently than everybody else does.
Right.
So instead I took advantage of it. And so, you know, I connect with a lot of people that people think are different. Like when you and I connect, I mean, you're definitely a different dude. I connect with those people that are like, I'm like, I wonder what that person's drawing. You know what I mean? I would always do that, but I'm like, oh, they're just by themselves, you know? Because I was
some lonely ass shit.
You know what I mean? Like,
you tell yourself to think that it's
and
cool.
But I always saw the world that way. But I really feel like, and again, this is really hard for me to share and really hard for me to say. But I was too scared to be different. I was too scared to be emotionally different, and so I was just the same as everybody else. And that's where I feel like you and I are similar, because you went through that extreme phase of like doing all the weird shit with the clothes and all that other bullshit. And I did the same thing. I mean, I dyed my fucking hair. I had a blonde mohawk. And next thing you know, I'm just I'm screaming from the inside. Next thing you know, it's cool. And everybody's doing it. Mm-hmm. Like the next year after I graduated, my next year, I had a blonde mohawk. Next thing I know, everybody has a blonde mohawk.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
you made it cool.
And I'm like, that was an accident. Like I was just trying to be different. I just wanted you guys to see I was different. You know, I've got 4 holes in my ears, like earrings. Like it's like, oh, it's different. No dude has the double hole right now. Like I was the first one to do it, and then I had a double eyebrow. Like, and then I got tattoos. It's like,
that's like a weird. Do you think small town, like, does this happen if you grew up in like fucking Seattle downtown?
I wonder because nobody knows you.
Thing?
Yeah,
like,
I wonder because nobody knows you.
Set myself aside from all these people, and we grew up kind of like, again, I would say riding the wave of technology. Like we weren't so like when we were in high school, it wasn't like super on as much on social media and stuff.
Yeah,
from what I remember. But I think that a lot of the times we're trying to set ourselves so far apart from people. Gosh, sometimes it seems to me like, just looking back, like a lot of things that I would be like wearing or whatever, it's like a weird cry for help in a weird way.
No, that's what it was. And that's what I'm saying is that it was like we were scared to be emotionally different. Right. So we were physically different.
Right. Well, I also, you know what, it's just coming up as I'm thinking about it. Because I've always, like, since I was younger, I always liked dressing differently. Like I always been like, I went to 9th grade with pink hair. Like I just the tight pants, everything, piercings, whatever. But I think something I'm coming up with like my family a lot is realizing that when I was young, and still to this day, like they make fun of fucking everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets made fun of. Mm-hmm. And so I had this when I was 9. The crazy thing, you know, a lot of things happened to me. My life changed a lot. And it was really this, like, the way that I survived in my head was like, I got to be nothing like these people. Mm-hmm. I've got to build myself into this person that needs
like
to,
you, like you almost, right. You can't belong there because you're so different.
And so I would even like, you know, a lot of the way I would dress and the things that I would do would be even like whatever I can do to push myself farther away.
Yep.
Cause like it makes me like,
cause now no one can physically associate with you with them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I was somebody, like, I was definitely on the outside of them when I knew that they make fun of people who dress like me. So like when I show up to see you the next time, I'm dressed in that same thing. You just made fun of someone, but you're going to ignore it. You're going to act like you didn't say it.
Exactly.
And so, man, we could be built off little shit like that. Like, like a lot of the shit I dress could be summarized to trying to prove that I'm different than my family. Yep. Like, that's how fucking simple we can be sometimes.
Yeah.
You know? But you can reframe that and you can be like, what's up with that? What do I want that? Like,
yep. Yeah, and I think also too, finding out, because I feel like you're still different, but finding out the differences that were truly you and the differences that you were forcing. So I feel like for me, like, it was always about outside. It was always about me being, you know, different, but also me being the best. I was the best dressed in high school in my senior year. So now I'm like, now that I'm different, can I still associate with fashion? And I'm like, I like it, but can I go back there? You know what I mean? And so I wasn't until recently, you know, I feel like I did this weird thing where I was like wearing sweats every day and like the same sweatshirt. Like I would have 2 of the same sweatshirts and I would just wear them. I had this long period where on my days off and when I wasn't working, I was dressed like I would say like a homeless guy.
Right.
Like, and I think it's because I was like, God, I like those things, but that's the old me.
Right.
Do I really like it? Or is that still those things that I'm battling and things that I'm facing? And I think what it is I finally just came to the conclusion that I just mixed the two. I mean, I have my clothes that I like, but I wear the same ones often.
Right.
Like I have, you know, the shoes that I used to have. I have these expensive, you know, high priced Jordans and I have 2 pairs instead of 20. So it's like there's that mixture now of like
I like Jordans, but I don't need 20.
Exactly. Like and I'm like, you know, but I had this weird like hate for myself. Like, why do I have this pull towards these shoes? Why do I have this pull towards this pair of pants? Why do I have this pull towards this hoodie?
A shitty spot for hate to sneak in.
Yeah. And it's like, because I was like associating with the old me. So Nate, are you still forcing yourself to try to be different, or do you genuinely like these things? And I think it was like, I really had to sit back and like, okay, what do I like about it? You know, and I had to do that with my entire life. What am I trying to be different at? You know, what car am I buying? Am I buying that car because I want to be different? Am I buying that car because I like it? Am I buying, you know, what am I involving myself in right now? Is it to be different? Right. Is it that cry that you were doing before, or is it really what you truly love? And I think that I'm starting to find that. And I think that's the process of rewiring yourself and finding yourself as being okay with certain things that you didn't think were okay at one point, or getting rid of the things that you thought were okay at one point too.
Yeah. And allowing yourself to evolve out of them, because I think that I did, like, when I would just start fucking hanging out here all the time, when I like just started getting better, I kind of went through the same thing. Like I would listen to these things about like Steve Jobs. What he would do is he would just wear the same thing every day. And I'd be like, fuck man, I wonder like what that is. And I was trying to just eliminate like some madness in my head really. And so I would be like, I need to cut out some choices. It does take me 15 minutes to get dressed because I stress about like, all right, where am I going? Who's going to see me? Who, like, what do I want to be wearing when they see me? Like these weird things. So I was like, let's cut that out. And so I started wearing, I was doing the same thing. I was wearing a white fucking t-shirt and like just the same joggers every day. But I think there's a lot of this that's like, it's inevitable for a lot of us, right? Like there's a lot of people who are going to be in the middle of that stage right now. I think for me, like, so my car, for example, is this cool stage that I'm at in my life as a 28-year-old. My car, when I was like 16 years old, my car was the fucking car. I remember I saw it was probably more of a Bentley when I first saw it, but at Chrysler 300, I was like, bro, that drop top looking shit looks I was like, I'm upset. I'm getting that. Like, and bro, I got that. I got a good job.
You always
after
get whatever
school,
you want.
and I fucking got it. And now I've had it for years and years. And it's like it's like yesterday it was broke down. I've been fixing it, you know? And like, I'm just thinking, I'm like, you know, I'm glad I had this car and I've had it for many, many years. I love it. And seriously, this was my dream car. Like some people want a fucking Porsche that's $1 million. This was mine. I got it. But I'm at this point in my life now where I'm like, is this actually bringing me down? Like, is it time to move on from this stage of my car? Because now I'm like, I want like a 4x4 Jeep because I like to go into the woods. Like in 22-inch rims don't really help me get into the woods. So it's like, wait, 22-inch rims seemed like they were beneficial back then, right? To me, because it's like helped me feel cool in my ego and it's what I wanted. But I think being able to like readjust and say like, you know what, like I was there and I did have all these Jordans, but like if I sold them, fuck, it's all right.
I think it's what you're doing is you're afraid to let a part of your identity go.
No doubt. So
this is how you associated with yourself for a really long time. And that's what we yearn for. Self-association. Who am I? What do I do? What do I believe in? What do I drive? What do I wear? What time do I get up? What do I eat? Blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you get your dream car and then you're like, I don't want it anymore. And it's almost a fear of letting it go. Right. I feel like we can subconsciously do that with a lot of shit, like our trauma. how we associated ourselves. Like I really convinced myself that I was stupid for a long time. Like anything that you hear about me is going to be physical. It's going to be that I'm in shape. It's going to be that I did a sport. It's going to be that I rode a bike. It's going to be this. It's going to be that.
Okay.
The speaking thing, you probably won't hear that from this version of me because I'm not confident in myself in those other areas. So I was like, can I let that go? Can I let go of the fact that I don't think that I'm a student? Can I let go of the fact that I don't think that I can learn anything new, that I'm just all physical? Well, if I don't get a sponsorship from my bike from a big company, I'm never going to be able to follow my dreams. I was neglecting the fact that I can let that part of me and that how I was identifying, I could let that go. But it's a weird thing because that's all we want.
Shit.
We want to find this identity. And then when we find it, the possibility of there being another identity is really scary.
Yeah.
Really scary. Because now you're like, do I even want this car? And you're like, well, of course I do. It's my dream car. What do you mean?
Right.
Don't tell yourself that. You're like going back and forth in your head because you're scared of like moving on to something else.
Right.
Which is weird because that's
Dude,
the whole point of growth in itself.
So do you think that we get to like, your latter 20s when you fucking step from being a boy into being a man? A lot of us like where we're at, like obviously we're through a lot of change, but we're also fucking just growing up and trying to be men in every way we can. I think like because I'm at a point where like I'm not in the market to buy a new car right now. I'm not like out looking or anything, but I think I have come to terms with like, I'm so pumped that I had that car. It's not like, fuck, I want to get rid of that thing. It doesn't really help me anymore. It's like, I think we also got to do, as we're momentum, we're fucking moving forward. We're like, here's on to the next one, assigning ourselves a task. We got to sometimes be like, you know what? Jake Ryan's, man, you're fucking cool, man. Like it's cool that you got that dream car that you wanted, and I'm proud of you for getting it, and like now I just heard myself say that, and now I can let that car go without being like, that's not my identity. I hate that old guy.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to hate your old identity so much. Sometimes you can realize that you've grown out of that part.
It's a milestone.
Yeah.
It's a milestone.
Yeah. And giving yourself that next step, I feel like is important.
Yeah. Instead of staying in it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what gets us better in everything. Like in our relationships, in our life, in our careers, in our jobs, in our money, in our self-worth, in our self-growth, in our everything. Giving yourself a milestone and then stepping on it to go to a next one.
Yeah.
Putting your body and your feet on that stone, on that whatever that is, and then going to the next one.
Imagine if you're physically building your own staircase to your goals.
Exactly.
Like you literally can't get to the third step unless you built the second one.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I really, man, I just want people to really know how important that is. Like I really do. I just want drive that home to yourself. Like you can be better than you think you can. Don't hold yourself back. People hold themselves back for everybody has their own personal reasons. I really feel like everyone has their own personal reasons. My personal reason why I've always held myself back is that I didn't believe in myself. I really did not believe in myself as much as I put out, all this stuff on the internet. It was more of an affirmation than it was facts. It was more of like, I gotta have this. I want this. I want this. I want this. I truly do. I wake up every single day and I go to bed thinking about this every single day. I want this. And so that's what I was putting out. And that's what I'm going to continue to do. Like if I want something, I'm putting it out there. Like that Van Talks thing, man, that is on my
It's happening.
Instagram, and I'm saying it on camera right now so I can look back on this, that I'm going to speak at that event. That's happening. It's not here. Not yet.
Bro, think about it. You wouldn't be able to say that sentence if you didn't at least say like, I want to believe in myself. Like even if that's the thing is like sometimes you don't get this magic switch that turns on like self-belief, but dude, you got to like fight through the feelings of like, I can do this.
Yeah. And everybody's different. For me, I have to convince myself over and over and over. Some people don't have to do it. Some people can just wake up and say, this is what I'm doing. And here we go.
Yeah.
I'm not wired like that yet. I have to wake up every day and say, this is what you're doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. At one point when I found out that I was live auditioning, I was like, okay, I'm going to start writing down my thing and whip it out. And then I was finding that I was making myself be busy on purpose so I could avoid it. Cause I was like, well, if I didn't prepare, obviously I wouldn't get it. Duh. Like, and I was like, dude, you're not preparing. How are you going to get this if you don't get your hopes up?
Right. Fuck, bro. It's such a, believing in yourself is like the most easy and complicated thing at the same exact time.
So
somehow.
easy. It's so easy.
Do you ever feel like, so like at the beginning of my like depression, getting better after all that, I had this like constant for days and days. I just had like this belief I had to hold on to, that like this is going to get better, because everything feels so farce and so fucking fake. I'm like, dude, realistically what's happening right now is I'm sad as fuck, but what I got to tell myself is, dude, you're going to be fine, Bob. Like, and it feels contrived. It feels so fake, you know,
does,
but like, but that's just at first.
Yeah.
That's, dude, you gotta, that's click off. Oh, but you gotta fucking, you gotta believe in yourself, and you gotta like get through sometimes there's gonna be a couple of days or sometimes even a couple of weeks of like your bad wolf telling you like, no, you're a pussy, bro. You like darkness. You don't deserve to get better, bro. You're a bad person. Like, you've done things that can't be taken back, bro. You're fucked.
Man.
You can't get, you want to get better? That's cute. Well, you're evil.
Yeah.
That's what your demons say. That's what your fucking bad wolf says, bro. But you gotta say, that's not true. That is not true. You gotta be soft with yourself sometimes. You gotta say, that's not true. And you gotta say, you know what? I fucking believe in myself. How about that? And you do that Monday, and then you do it fucking Tuesday, and then you do it Wednesday. And then Thursday might be the hardest day of your life, but maybe Friday, you're like, fuck, man, I woke up without having to tell myself that I believe in myself. I just kind of like had a little thing. Yeah. And I think trusting that that's there, like that, getting that 95% of your day, the subconscious is running your day, getting that 95% trained is 5% this day, 5% tomorrow day.
Consistency is key in everything. Yeah. And as far as like your skill and your talent and whatever you're trying to obtain, and in your mind too, consistency is key in everything. I can do it. I wake up every single day and I say what I am. I say I'm a motivational speaker. Mm-hmm. You want to look at me and tell me I'm not? You're probably right. Yeah. But I have to. That's what works for me. Yeah. And it's okay. Like, a lot of people are scared to associate themselves with something that they are not yet. How do you get there then? So if I don't say I'm a speaker, I'm never going to speak. I'm not going to do the things that speakers do. I'm not going to research. I'm not going to brainstorm. I'm not going to come up with little nuggets and little ideas. I'm not going to put myself out there. I'm not going to get opportunity. So how do you become something that you're not already if you don't identify as that? Or if you don't, you won't strive to be it.
Dude, I fucking interrupted you there. I was getting excited. I was just thinking, like Elon Musk. Like, what if Elon Musk he's like, nah, I can't fucking get to the moon, bro. Yeah. All right. Well, that's that. Now we're nowhere.
All right, cool. Let's close the books. Go. Yeah.
Good night.
Close the books.
Bro, that's
good job,
as
guys.
Simple as the thing is, you hear these dudes talk about, you listen to a lot of the motivational stuff, and a lot of people think that it's like, nah, that's just not for me. Like, the positivity, the motivational thing is not for me. It's like, no, man, if you just listen to it and you really like open yourself up to it, you realize like, oh shit, that is kind of how reality works, right? Like, if I don't believe in myself, it's not happening.
Well, why would you want to be miserable is my question.
Because we think we deserve it.
Yeah.
We think that, like, based off of like whatever patterns that we've had, whatever patterns that we learned, whatever things that were told to us when we were younger that we didn't realize were told to us that we didn't realize affected us so much. We need to suffer in it.
Yeah. You know what's weird is I was listening to Tony Robbins about his human needs portion. And it's crazy because he says whatever you are, whether you're happy or you're sad, all your human needs are met. So that's what's scary. You know what I mean? You know how to identify. You know what I mean? You know that you're sad. All your, your needs of having a place are met. Like, and the only thing that's not met when you're unhappy is growth. So you're getting your 4 out of your 5, or I think he's 5, has 5 human needs that
I think he takes it from the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I just started the book. It's that book sitting right there.
Yeah, I was like, dude, no wonder. Like, that's why we keep ourselves there. 4 of the 5 of our needs, besides growth, are being met.
God, and it's like, to deal with that. Even if you notice that, to deal with that, it's like, well, this sucks, but now I'm gonna have to like move the needs that are unmet. Like, it's still gonna hurt like a bitch, maybe even more. But it's kind of like choosing your pain, right? It's like life. Regardless of how you live, if you die at age 60, you're going to have certain pains. Like, regardless of how life goes, you're going to have certain pains. And like, if you believe in yourself and you want to pursue your dreams, those are the pains that are going to come with your dreams. Like if you work at a mill, that's cool. That's awesome. Fuck yeah. Like, but there's certain pains that are going to come with working at a mill.
Yeah.
And like, if you can deal with that, that's awesome. That's your life. That's so, you know, like if you enjoy your job and it works out for you and these things come full circle, you're like, okay, I can handle these pains. But I think that a lot of times we see the pains of our dreams from where we're at right now.
Yep.
You know, and we're like, fuck, of course I couldn't handle those things. Like, bro, you ain't the man to handle those things yet.
Yeah.
You haven't built yourself up to be that yet. But when you give yourself your dreams, you start to have this thing that wakes up that you're like, fuck, bro, like, I know, like maybe I ain't quite there, but like I have this faith, this hope that like I'm going to be able to handle those pains when I'm ready.
Yeah. And I feel like, a common misconception with that growth and becoming that new thing is that everything is better. But with new levels come new devils every single time. Every time you step into a new level, every time you step into a different version of yourself, you're going to face a battle. And I think that was what was a surprise to me is I'm like, you know, but I'm on this path. Like, I'm doing good. Why am I still dealing with this stuff? Like, why am I still dealing with this? Why am I still, you know, having, depressional thoughts? Why am I developing, because I haven't had it before, why am I developing anxiety if I'm progressing? You don't ever escape these things. You just learn how to deal with them. Mm-hmm. And the reason that when you look at older people and you look at people that are seasoned and people that are wise, their problems don't go away. They learn how to deal with them and they affect their life less every single time. Mm. They let it affect their happiness less. They let it affect their day less. They let it affect their mind less. They let it affect their mood less every single time because the problems never go away. It's just how you learn how to deal with them.
Right. Yeah, they're passing. That's what I always say, like with meditation, like, man, whatever you're dealing with, it's passing through your brain.
Yeah.
Like, take care of your brain. Like, why don't you learn how your brain works? Meditation and introspective thinking and like trying to just take a look at, not being afraid to take a look at your insides. I think just any of that is enough to be like, all right, well, these problems might get worse. Like the things that come up at me might get worse. As I progress, I might have bigger problems, but it's all going to pass through you. Yep. And if you just take care of you, the problems are easily more solved. Like the same exact situation. If I drop this glass cup and it goes all over the ground, I might be devastated. Like, fuck, this is the worst day of my life. My glass cup just broke. Yeah. But the exact same cup, person right next to you, they could drop a cup too and be like, fuck, man, it's just a cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's your perception.
It's your perception.
Yeah. Want to call it?
Yeah.
All right, bro, keep moving.
Boom.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the episode. Just wanted to quickly touch by and ask, of course, if you could subscribe and like and share any of those sort of things. If you have anybody who may be able to benefit in the current time with any of the episodes that you've listened to, maybe send them a link, have them read the description, check it out. I just really appreciate the sharing. It keeps the momentum alive here. So take care of yourselves, drink some water, focus on your posture, and love yourself. See you later.